This is what I do for a living. This is what I do for a living. Well, not exactly this. And this is just Paul. Hi, I just made a site using Wix. No, I didn't. Nobody's paying me yet. So I've left you guys in suspense. When I showed off the pictures from my most recent retro diner fake food photo shoot and told you that I was going to do a session of retouching myself in the pictures, and that was like a couple weeks ago. You can still watch that video. It still exists on the internet. What goes on the internet stays on the internet. And today is that day where I open up all of my insecurities and show you how I retouch a model. Model is a strong word here. It's me. So we are going to open up my retro diner folder and we're gonna see all of our great photographers. Barry Shoots is the photographer that we are going to be retouching today. Barry was kind enough to let me retouch my own photos for these videos and my own pleasure. To give you some examples and show you what I've done to some of these pictures, let's go into the PSD files so we can get a little bit of an insight on what you can really do with Photoshop and with skills and talent, whatever. So here we have one of the many pictures of me at the counter at the retro diner cutting into my pie as if it's a real pie. It's not, if you didn't catch on yet. So if you want to look over here, here are all of my layers so far. I mostly use curved layers to balance out the light, which is one of the main things that I do whenever I get a photograph back. At this point in history, we are, in my opinion, happily moving away from over retouching models, not changing what a model naturally looks like, and instead using what you see and making the best photograph possible. If you ever wanted to have access to turning off all your edit layers at once to see what the photo originally looked like, put them in a folder, and then you can take the eye over here and turn it off and on. One cool thing about this location is that we are able to utilize fantastic window lighting with lots of sunlight coming through that practically lit up the entire set. This was a set, by the way. This was not a real retro diner. No working kitchen. And so when you bring a photo into its finishing stages, you basically just want to make sure it looks like the photo is at least as well lit and well balanced as possible in camera. And you can do that with subtlety. As you see here, I'm really not changing much about me. I'm just changing the lighting and color of the photo to make it perfect. This photo absolutely is the pinnacle of my editing. I'm gonna turn off the entire folder so that you can see it wasn't only color and lighting. I love the background of this photo, the car, the neon, the tiling on the wall, but it was a little distracting to have all the neon cords and this door that kind of broke up the picture in a way that you didn't want it to. I used a lot of stamp tools. We have spot healing brush tool, the patch tool, and some clone stamps that allow us to basically put together an entire new image out of existing little hints, if you will. And we get to one of my favorite pictures of all the photo shoots. This is this little ingenue sitting in the cafe by herself waiting for somebody. No, I really do think that I love the way I look in this photo. I love the way I'm dressed. I love the way I'm posed. I love the way I'm smiling or not smiling. Just think it was a fantastic photo by Barry. And we're going to do the same thing to its sister photo today so that you can see exactly how we accomplished this look. So let's go back into our folder and grab a fresh, unedited photo. So as you see, this was the photo that we just saw retouched, and this is the one that we are going to retouch today. Because I really like them both. I wanted to edit both, and now I am giving myself that opportunity and a reason to have two very, very similar photos. Here's another thing that I like to do when I'm editing a photo right out of camera. I make sure that the subject is the lit center of the photo, making the subject the subject. So when you take a photo, sometimes you don't always have the most control over lighting, especially I've found when it's sunlight. When you are shooting outside using natural daylight, sometimes you get a photo that is lit enough to be visible, but not necessarily always a light that's pointing in the best direction. As you can see, I brought my figure up a lot and brought some of the background to life. It all had to do with making it look like you just had a perfectly balanced photo to begin with, and making sure that the color palette, these candy coated colors, really set the scene for the mood that we're going for, which is fun in 50s. So let's start retouching, shall we? Hello? Hello? All right, this photo is a little less contrasted, but also a little bit more dramatic. I wanted this photo shoot to be high sucralose, high color, high saturation, bright, happy. I took it upon myself to balance out the lighting really well. If I wanted to be in a film noir, maybe this picture would do well. Like, dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Doo doo doo. That's actually really pretty. But we're not going to do that today. We are going to make it as close as possible to the other one so that you can see how I normally will retouch any kind of photo. First thing that I would do after opening a photo in Photoshop is that I am going to run an action. If you are interested at all in Photoshop, and you don't know what an action is, I'm going to tell you right now. An action is a series of actions. So there was one time that I made a series of moves within Photoshop. I recorded them, and here they are again. Magic. Wow, it already looks 10 times better. So this is my color pop action that I made, which gives me some blank masks that I can draw on to make certain places lighter, darker, warmer, yellower, and then some of these overall masks that make it generally just a little bit better, and we can toggle those for every individual photo. Wow, somebody should be hiring me to do classes. Instead, I'm giving it away on YouTube. Let's start with our minus curves layer. This is going to help us bring down some of the really bright spots, take down some of the whites to show more color and detail. I didn't get any raw photos. If I really wanted to make something that was super important for billboards, designs, I would ask for the raw photos so that I can have more of the color profile. We're gonna do the same thing to lighten the places on my face and my body that get a little lost. Just want to see all this detail here. Nah, I want to keep that dark. It just looks gray now. Looking good already? I think in these we've taken the saturation up even more, but it's mostly in... God. It's mostly in the furniture, the walls, the surroundings where I wanted a lot of the color. I do not want all of that saturation in my face. Whoa. Ghost. We don't want to blow out the reds, like here on my sweater, where it's like way too bright. Okay. That's pretty cute. Now it's the time to go in on the details. My face. I want to brighten up specifically my face just a little bit more so we're not losing my face. For that, since the blacks are getting a little bit wiped out, I'm gonna make a clipping mask. If you don't know what a clipping mask is, you put a clipping mask of any kind of layer above a mask cutout that you already made. And therefore, once you've created the clipping mask, you can now only affect that one spot. Let me get rid of some of that red. Whenever I would retouch my own photos, which I did since the very beginning, I can throw some before and afters up on the screen here so that you can see how I used to take really crappy photos, even for headshots. Like my first headshot was taken against a really wrinkly sheet that I just basically painted out the background for the most part. And I always was taking kind of mediocre photos and trying to make them the best as possible in post. I'm happy to say that ever since the beginning, I really made a point to not edit my body. Like any literal human female, and even males in the world, I've always been self-conscious about just simply not having a perfect body, whatever that means, the things that I would see in magazines and not live up to it. But ever since the beginning, I really had this idea of transparency that if I'm taking pictures of myself for you know, an actual agent or a casting. I didn't want to misrepresent myself in a way that was basically a lie. I wasn't going to be losing a bunch of weight right before I was going to be going into a casting, an audition, or going to see an agent, because I knew that if I really wanted to look different, I had to do that in real life on myself. I have retouched my body a little bit in like posters for movies that had more than like one person in it, and I would kind of at times, you know, pinch and tug a little bit at people. But I don't even know if I would agree to do that anymore. It's kind of up to whoever I'm working with, because my clients are kind of what goes. If they tell me to do something, that's what I'm going to do. But for the most part, I really like the idea of being transparent and just not doing that to myself anymore. And also not feeling bad about it. This is me. I'm pretty happy with it. And this is what you're going to get. On the screen and off. But after I gave that long and self-righteous speech about not retouching my body, let's talk about something that I do often retouch. My skin. So if you've never noticed before, you will now, forever, and everything that you watch of mine. I have some scars on my face from acne. It's always been something that I've been pretty self-conscious about, and something that I also have always been trying to fix with different procedures. I was always very scared that it would mostly hurt my acting career. Like, if I wasn't an actor, I probably wouldn't care that much. But whenever I'm polishing a photo, I always still take my brush and edit my skin a little bit, smooth it out in some kind of way. Maybe one day I'll be brave enough to never retouch my skin again. But for now, I'm giving you a very realistic way of how I usually retouch my photos. And I'm going to do a very light layer of some skin smoothing. I'm not going to erase my scars and my skin texture altogether, or any human portrayals of skin. But I do want to smooth it out a little bit. One thing that I noticed within all the edits of everybody else, very few people actually edited my skin, which I thought was crazy, because I've even gotten some photos edited for like social media by other people where they fixed my skin, which I kind of expect, but maybe it's less of a problem than I think it is. But I'm sure that everybody has that something, some kind of trait that people have made you feel bad about. But I'm at least really glad to report that I think that the world is moving in a positive way, that they're starting, some people are starting to let realism peek through and not be ashamed of it. I mean to put it on billboards and ads for their own products, and they're okay to show that side of the world and of humanity. Wait for the ultimate turn it off. Oh, that's not that bad. In fact, actually, I don't know what I like better. It's not smoothed out, has a little bit more drama, doesn't it? Let's keep all the blemishes. I think I will. One thing though that I am going to do, I'm going to duplicate the background layer. And a trend that I see a lot that I think is really helpful and does serve how I was saying to make the subject of the photo is we're going to brighten some of the most alluring features. And in pretty much every single photo, that is the eyes. Ah! That's not helpful. That's not helpful, Jessica. Okay. No, we're gonna take the sharpening tool and we're gonna bring out the drama of those eyes. This in itself is creating a little bit more contrast and also a little bit more highlight. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take, oh, I'm like the digital Bob Ross. We're gonna take the little dodge tool and we're gonna just sprinkle a little bit of a highlight in those eyes. It's a happy little highlight. My eyes are usually very dark brown to the point where they almost look black. So I do always like to turn up the volume on my color so that people actually know that I'm not a demon child. Is that at all helpful? Maybe. A little bit dark. A little bit in the dark. Just like I am. Every day that the corona updates hit me. Let's fix that mask because it looks like shit. Wow, that's so much better. Let's give myself a little bit more yellow. Oh yeah, that matches my neck so perfectly. don't know if I like that better. Like, it's like a lot more contrast, but at the same time, a lot less softness. Let me take that down, those changes down just a bit. Just a bit. And that's the thing about Photoshop. You don't have to go full balls to the walls. You can just edit a little bit. You can edit a lot. Look at it small, look at it big. Let's add a little bit more contrast. Ooh, look at those blacks, like, just becoming so much more rich. The walls look kind of pink. I don't think they were pink. I can't remember what color they were. But I like the look. And yeah. I'm wondering if I still have a little bit too much color in my skin. Oh, I forgot my hands. There. That did something, right? Right? Man, I like that sunniness though. I like how, man, it seems so warm and inviting. To sit next to me and to have a fake cup of coffee. Man, I think I want to call it done. Let's see how close I got to my original design. You know, when I was thinking, Jess, how are you going to match your original style of photo retouching if you don't have the other example that's exactly like it? Well, let's see what I do with intuition. Let's see if I, you know, shop my photos to my design every time. And let's see, drumroll please. Man, it's definitely a lot warmer in the second one, but I don't know if I dislike it. I don't know which one I like more. Maybe we'll split the difference. And there they are, sisters not twins. Great. Guys, I think I did it. I think I did the job that I do every day. Tell me, you guys, what you think of my retouch, what you think about retouching photos in general. It is my art form, and I respect it a lot. Even though a lot of people look down on what they think that they're talking about when they hear the word retouching, which means like making a model look like, you know, a supermodel alien. But retouching really is just the post-production of a photo or a photo set. It's making a picture that was taken in, you know, less than 100% perfect circumstances and making it the pieces of art that you see on Instagram all the time. Those really bold, beautiful, galactic looking photos. There is a lot of editing that is involved with those kinds of photos, but at the same time, I believe that the editing is its own craft. Everybody has their own style, everybody has their own techniques, and I hope that you enjoyed and learned a little something today. And now I think it's time to spin the wheel! And here it is, back and in charge. The wheel of YouTubery. How are you guys doing during quarantine? If you would like to know how I'm doing, you can watch Quarantine with Me, my live episode from last week, and have a blast. Ooh. Audience choice, huh? That means that you guys have to participate. Hopefully you watched till this point in the video, and you can now know what your options are and what you want to see me do next. I'd love to make your dreams come true. Follow me on social to see if I die from this pandemic or if I make it. And like this video so one day I can be that YouTuber who can sit at home and vlog all day for their job and also entertaining and inspiring people at the same time. But this is my outro.